Noki the One, and I have a special guest here for Red Pill Radio, the franchise owner of The Matrix and the Terminator movies, the derivatives of her book, Third Eye Matrix. Y'all welcome, Sophia Stewart.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah.
I'm glad to be on your show today.
Thank you. I'm super honored. The Matrix is something that I fell in love with when I was a kid, which I didn't really understand it, but a part of me understood it. And then when I got older, I watched the Matrix movie, and that's after I'd been studying like the law of attraction and all the metaphysical elements. And when I watched it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a phenomenon. Most people don't even understand what they're talking about. And then after a while, I felt connected, and I knew there was something to it that I was really deeply connected to. So then when I heard about your story, it was just like, okay, this makes so much more sense now that I'm hearing it from you. So let's get into your background and really where you came from, your school background, and, you know, with science and engineering and film school. So tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, everybody does this. They ask this. This is probably I've done over 4,000 media interviews. Yeah. Of course, my background, I'm from New York City. A lot of people know I'm from New York. A lot of people know I went to USC Film School. I have a degree in journalism, a double major in law and psychology. Yeah. I studied to be a doctor and a lawyer. Yeah. But I'm also a producer, a paralegal, a screenwriter, an author of several books. Yeah. Yeah. So Matrix and Terminator's consciousness is one epic story. The Terminator and Matrix was just split in half and created to be two franchises, but it's one epic story. Yeah. Sarah Connor is actually Neo's mother.
Yeah. And you're talking about Sarah Connor from the Terminator.
That's right. Sarah Connor from the Terminator is actually Neo's mother. Mm-hmm. So what we're talking about, the Oracle prophecy, the machines here, the Oracle's prophecy that a baby is going to be born. And that baby, well, they're looking for the mother of that baby because they know that baby is gonna, in the past, they have to time travel to the past to kill Sarah Connor because she's destined to be the mother of the baby. Yeah, that's right. But Kyle Reese also time traveled from the future to try to save her, and he inversely falls in love with her, gets her pregnant. Yeah, he has to go back to the future where he come from. Yeah. And so she's pregnant. It's the Immaculate Conception. So JC, John Connor's Jesus Christ, grows up to be Neo, one and the same in the Matrix.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And after you told me about that the first time we talked, I watched The Matrix again, and there was this short clip, and they were passing, like, it was just like a little, like B-roll, and they showed the cop from the Terminator really quick. So you would have to know that, they're connected to be able to catch that type of stuff. But I actually saw it, and I'm going to play that clip when I edit this. But it's really interesting how they really tried to put everything together.
Well, they didn't try to put them together. What people have to understand is a film is just a film, like you're filming it right now. Mm-hmm. Well, we're here. We're the source work.
Exactly.
So if you're the source work, no one has created us. Mm-hmm. So a film, them filming a script in my book, adapting it to the screen. Yeah. That's what they do. I mean, Lords of the Ring, J.R. Tolkien's work. Peter Jackson didn't write it. He just filmed, adapted the script in the book of J.R. Tolkien's work. Yeah. The Gravity book, the Gravity movie, the Maze book, the Maze movie. The Breaking Dawn book, the Breaking Dawn movie. Harry Potter in the Harry Potter movies from a book. Yeah. So when you say the Third Eye Matrix and Terminator, that's the book and the script with the same name. Yeah. But the third eye is the eye of God, because on Earth we have two eyes, the humans, but there's an all-knowing, all-seeing eye of God. Yeah. And Matrix is the woman's womb, Latin word for the woman's womb, a 7,000-year-old word that comes from the King James's Bible. Wow. So it's the eye, the woman's womb, and Terminator end time revelations, because in the Bible, in Revelations, Terminator means the end. Yep. Revelation is talking about the end. Yep. The Bible is divided up into three parts: past, present, and future. Meaning the Old Testament is the past.
Yeah.
The New Testament is our present right here, right now. Mm-hmm. And Revelation is what one will become, the future, which is the end time.
Yeah.
So in Terminator End Time, it's speaking about a prophecy in the Bible, biblical prophecy, the King James's Bible. Go in there and look, Google it.
Yeah.
It's talking about an end time, that in the end times, the Christ consciousness would have to come back to the earth. And why would the Christ consciousness have to come back? Because the machines and the future, the artificial intelligence, will have already enslaved mankind.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So how do you think that the machines are enslaving us now? Because we have all this technology nowadays.
Well, look at this technology. It's making people lazy.
Yeah.
There are people who are so narcissistic that they're taking selfies and they're falling off of cliffs. They're falling off of into the Grand Canyon. They're drowning and dying and walking into holes and hitting by cars.
Yeah.
They're so self-absorbed in the machines, the cell phones, the artificial intelligence have, self-absorbance of their lives that they're not paying attention to the sunshine, nature, the trees, the water. Yeah. Back in the day, we had no cell phones 30 years ago. But we enjoyed life. We're not even concerned with telephones.
Yeah, that's very true. And we're supposed to be so connected, but we're not connecting.
It's separating people because people are always on their phone. You can look in traffic, look to your right, to your left, and in the cars, the children are looking at their cell phones in the back.
Yep.
The adults in the front are looking at their cell phones.
Yeah.
Everybody is looking at themselves. They're not even paying attention to the light. I actually have to blow for people to get moving because I know they're texting.
Yep.
They're looking at their phones. They're answering the phone. Their whole lives are absorbed by the artificial intelligence, which is the machines.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, to think about it, like earlier on, it was like the younger kids that were always on their phones. And now every time I go to my mom's house, I'm like, Mom, get off Facebook. Like, can we have a conversation? I don't come here all the time. And she's stuck on laughing on Facebook. I'm like, I feel like you're a teenager and I'll be the mother telling you my grandpa, 89 years old, scrolling up and down Facebook all day.
Yeah, because usually it's the millennials that are so self-absorbed into the phones. But nowadays, if anyone can connect with the technology and the cell phones and the Androids, the smartphones, they're gonna be taken away.
I told my grandma, do not get a smartphone because he has one of the old flip phones where she could barely send a picture. I'm like, good, stay with that.
Because you like to connect with somebody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jeez, it's crazy. I'm sitting at the kitchen table. I'm the only one not on the phone. I'm like, this is reversed.
Well, it's like that too. And I know a lot of people are identifying with that because when you go home now and you try to have a family meal, people are not even paying attention to the food. They're just looking at their phones.
You can put anything on the plate and they'll be eating it, laughing on their phone.
Yeah, even at the restaurants, even at the parties, it's just that. But I'm going to go into something now that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I want to tell people, because I think this podcast is very important, and I want to tell people that this is more to me than about money, because this is all I hear a lot of is the issue. How much money did you win? How much money are they going to give you? How much money do they have to pay out?
I hear that a lot when people talk about it. I'm like, y'all are missing it.
Yeah, I mean, what are you guys missing in your lives?
Yeah.
That money has taken the place of righteousness. Money has taken the place of justice.
Yeah.
Money has taken the place of a right to be an owner.
That's huge.
Yeah, because this is what this is all about.
Yeah.
The right to be an owner.
Yeah.
I could have sold out years ago because they're wondering, well, why is this fight so long?
Yeah.
Well, when you're fighting for justice, when you're fighting for equality, a lot of people died for these rights. People like Malcolm, people like Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks fought. But then there's other people who have died. Prince, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, you know what I'm saying? Tupac, Biggie, Nipsey Russell just recently, Hussle, because he got the name from Nipsey Russell. Nipsey Hussle. I'm sorry, because that first name came first, and then
I've never heard of
that span off. Oh yeah, Nipsey Russell as an actor, comedian, and anyone should Google him, because before Nipsey Hussle came, it was Nipsey Russell.
Wow, I didn't see. My generation probably has never.
Oh well, your generation's being in your 20s and a millennial.
Yeah.
You guys, if we don't teach you guys, and keep the knowledge flowing. You guys will think that you guys created the dances you're doing now, when a lot of the dances you guys are doing, I grew up in the 80s and they were doing these breakdancing and everything in the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx. Yeah. You know, I saw it firsthand when it was being born, when Jay-Z and Diddy and all of them were, you know, rapping, and DMX, you know what I'm saying? And Pac and all of them, you know. NAA, you know. So I think people need to know 50 cents, you know. So people need to know what's going on here. That you guys didn't invent the wheel. The wheel was already here. So all you guys are doing is spinning an imitation of the wheel. But the wheel was already invented.
So what do you think people do like to know about the case? So when you say you've won the case, what does that mean to you? And walk us through the process of first finding out that your work had been stolen and all of that, and then to where you are now.
Well, I want to tell people it's 3 cases. 3 cases. My first case was a California case that I filed pro se, because I studied to be an attorney, so I'm well gifted in law as well as educated in law. The California case was a RICO case. A RICO is a criminal case filed April 24th, 2003 in Los Angeles. Now, the FBI and the DOJ had already validated the theft, had already proven in their files, the U.S. Attorney's Office, that I was the owner, the writer, the creator of the Matrix and Terminator work. Third Eye Matrix Terminator. So now you ask yourself, me being a woman of gender bias, and me being a woman of color, why were these people not prosecuted in the year 2003? Why did the U.S. Attorney's Office from Salt Lake City, Utah, Greg Diamond and Elizabeth Ann Stevens, a prosecutor, and the head man, Greg Diamond, wanted me to lie about the investigation?
So why did they want you to lie?
Because they had gotten paid off, bribed the office not to prosecute this white collar crime.
Wow.
So my copyrights, because my work was copyrighted, 81, 83, and 84. Terminator didn't come out till October the 17th, 1984. So Cameron lied to you. Gail Ann Hurd lied to you. William Wisher lied to you. Randall Franks lied to you. Andy and Larry Wachowski, Matrix didn't come out till March the 31st, 1999. Andy and Larry Wachowski lied to you. These people never wrote The Matrix or Terminator, have never written anything, can't even write, period. Don't even have a script at the Library of Congress because it's fraud. It's my script, my book.
Everybody can look. All of this is public record. And
thank you.
The whole time when I was preparing for this, she's always encouraged me to do my own research, because every time I would talk to somebody about it, they'll go on Google and the first thing they say is the myth. Is it a hoax or is it the truth? And then it's always some ridiculous stuff. And what people don't realize is that in order to get to the top of Google, usually that's paid for. It's paid advertising. So the first page is usually someone has paid to be on the first page. So if you just go on Google and say, let's see, Sophia Stewart, is this real? Well, who controls Google? Who controls these podcasts? So you can look for yourself if you are not lazy and go to the public records and find out everything that she's saying. And the crazy thing that I feel like is that people want to dissect your whole story and try to find holes in it. But I have yet to meet a person that asks me, what about the Wachowskis? What record is there? What copyright is there that they actually wrote The Matrix? Like, they don't even talk about it. You could actually Google this or YouTube it. You will not find anything of them talking about how they wrote The Matrix. You barely see an interview. You don't see any interviews. And we're on YouTube. If they did something, they're gonna talk about it, especially with
they're Polish Jews and the Jews on the media. Yeah. They would be on every talk show, Ellen,
if they
Oprah, everywhere. Exactly. They would be celebrated all over the media. But if they come on television and lie, that is a deposition that can be used against them in a court of law to put them in jail.
Exactly. Yep.
So I don't know why you people you don't got to be a rocket scientist to figure this out.
Yeah.
What I'm picking up is nothing but a hate crime.
Yeah.
It's racist.
Yep.
And a hate crime. They're hating on me because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
Gender bias because male science fiction. Yep. They want to proclaim they're the greatest, the males, white males. White science fiction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Matrix and Terminator has black people in leadership role. White science fiction don't have that.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you something. The whites came to me, a lot of them, and they said, you know what, Sophia? We believe you that you wrote The Matrix and Terminator because our white science fiction, we don't have any black people in leadership role.
Yeah.
They usually die out the first 10 minutes of the movie, and they're not in any leadership role.
Yeah. Especially in the 90s when it came out.
Oh, especially in the 90s. Yeah. And in the 80s when Terminator came out.
Yeah.
White science fiction did not have black leadership role. So now I'm in the news in 1981, June of 81, and you guys can look this up. Los Angeles Sentinel archived. They're talking about me in the news.
Yeah.
I'm at USC Film School.
Yep.
Got a degree in journalism, a double major in law and psychology. And I'm talking about and showing the first black heroes and leadership role that inspired Obama to become president because black people everywhere saw themselves in leadership role.
Yeah.
And they were like, wait a minute. Why would these two Polish Jews
come up with
something like that? And then when they asked them, they said, oh, well, we got an idea from Carnell West.
Wow.
Carnell West?
Yeah, I know.
That they put him in the movie. Now, where would Carnell West get an idea of consciousness? He hadn't even written anything consciousness before.
Yeah. And especially,
it's funny.
Have you seen the video of Will Smith talking about how he turned down The Matrix?
Will Smith turned down The Matrix. He wanted to speak to me. This was years ago.
Really?
A guy that worked for him over at Overbrook, Joe Battles, a friend of my son's, got in touch with me and said, Will, want to speak to you. Wow. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Will turned down The Matrix because he didn't understand anything. When the Wachowskis came to him, they couldn't explain my work because you can't explain somebody else's work.
Yeah. Have you seen the video though?
Yeah, I saw the video.
Okay, I was gonna say that'd be cool to see your reaction to it.
Yeah, and Will turned down The Matrix because he wanted to portray Jim West in Wild Wild West. Yeah. He wanted to portray a white man, but Jim West's fan base, Michael Connor, I think is the actor, they rejected Will in the role.
Yeah.
That's why it bombed with Kevin Kline.
Yeah, and he talked about that, and I actually love Wild Wild West, but I'm not the target market for Wild Wild West. But he talked about in the video how silly they sound. For one, he was like, when I got into the arena, like when they were telling me they want me to play this, he's like, the way they explained it sound crazy. He's like, they have all these cameras all in a circle, and then when you jump in the air, it shows every direction. He's like,
because what they couldn't explain about Neo flying, but he's not Superman.
Yeah.
But he's flying is because he has ascended into his light body.
Yeah.
The light body that the Bible talks about when Jesus ascended to his light body, he's defying gravity. He's flying, but he's not Superman. Do you see what I'm talking about? Yeah. But he is transformed into a higher dimensional of consciousness.
Yeah.
Well, if you didn't write it, you can't explain it. If you're not Picasso and you didn't paint the Picasso, you don't know what Picasso painted. Yeah. Because it's not your work.
Yeah.
So you're trying to describe a Picasso and it sounds like you sound like an idiot.
Exactly. It was funny the way he described it. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna do Wild Wild West because this don't make no sense to me. And I wanted to actually see if you were back then in the 90s and you were pitching this to Will Smith, how would you have pitched it? And
it would have been simple. The same thing that I just told you minutes ago, that I wrote an epic story, and Neo is an anagram for the one.
Yeah.
Neoone. So JC, John Connors, Jesus Christ, grows up to be Neo, one and the same in the Matrix, because Neo is an anagram, and John the Revelator is the only one that called Jesus the one.
Yeah.
So if I had approached Will, I would have showed Will my work, and he would have read the story, and I said, I want you to be the one, because the first 3 Terminators tells you about the mother who's going to have the one that's going to grow up to be the savior of the people who are enslaved by the machines.
Exactly.
So this is what I would have told Will.
Yeah, and that would have been totally different. Like, he would have had a whole different mindset about it. And it's crazy, the symbolism, because it was only about 2 or 3 years later that he ended up playing Muhammad Ali. And you said that character was inspired
by Muhammad Ali. And when you open up my book, the dedication is to Muhammad Ali, because we had a black superhero, living hero that accomplished some of the most phenomenal things. Yeah. And I based the Neo character after him. Yeah. It made all the sense in the world. I was engaged to marry him. Yeah. And I was with him from 1980 up until 1983 in my engagement.
Wow.
But we were still in communications with each other up until almost till he passed away.
Yeah.
Yes.
So did you ever talk to, I'm sure, I don't even know I had to ask this question, but when you talked to Muhammad Ali about The Matrix, how did he respond? He
was floored by my writings.
Yeah.
He had my writings framed in his mansion.
Yeah.
You know, because people would tell me, but I've been to his mansion. I met at the time when he was married to Veronica. Yeah. But he and Veronica was in the process of getting a divorce.
Yeah.
You know, but we were going to have a Muslim marriage first because he's a Muslim. You know what I'm saying? And so he was just floored. Yeah. He introduced me to many directors and producers and people. You know, we were in public. Yeah. All of this stuff on us where we're, you know, going out in public is archived in the media.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, I was not hidden at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So he was just floored by my work. In fact, he told me about his pending marriage to Yolanda before the 4th wife that he married, the last wife.
Yeah.
He told me about that before, you know, he even married her, that she was this little girl that lived across the street from him.
Yeah.
And that, you know, he had the Parkinson disease and that his mom, you know, told him that she was educated. She has a degree. She always admired Muhammad Ali and that she would take good care of him.
Yeah.
Which she did.
Yeah.
She took great care of him, but God didn't want that for me. I had a mission to carry God's message.
Yeah.
So The Matrix and Terminator is the inspirational message of God to free people from bondage of programs, labels, lies, ignorance, confusion.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes,
that's cool. And I feel like this whole story, because I've heard you kind of touch on Muhammad Ali, but broken down in this way, I've never really seen it broken down in this way, and the depths of y'all's relationship and really what he thought about, you know, your writings and stuff like that. So that's awesome. I've always been like, I felt connected to Muhammad Ali. There's certain public figures that I feel more connected to, and he's one of those people. So, and then also Will Smith. So to find out that whole serendipity was going on is pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, Will have reached out to me on the social networks, and so have Russell Simmons.
Yeah.
And so have Reverend Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all have, but many other celebrities too.
I saw a picture of you with Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh yeah, Lawrence.
So how was that?
Lawrence, bless his heart, is beautiful, handsome. I'm very shy. Yeah. That was our 2006, my first red carpet, where I'm introduced to the media. Yeah. I mean, for the first time. Yeah. It's like 100 media people there because Sylvester Stallone is on the red carpet, the late Dennis Hopper, and some other people besides Lawrence got an award that day. Yeah. So Lawrence told, Paul Mooney, y'all know, everybody knows who Paul Mooney is. He's hilarious. And Ellen from WBLS, and told all of New York that, hey, Sophia Stewart wrote The Matrix and Terminator. Yeah. And Paul, Paul will...
He will tell anybody.
He'll tell you exactly how he feels. He will tell the truth. Yeah. And he was just floored. Yeah. He told, on air, he and Ellen, especially Paul, he's like, okay, everybody, Sophia Stewart is from New York. Mm-hmm. You guys got her number out there. So come on, give me that number. Call in, give me her number. And they did. Someone called in, gave him the number, and he called me. And I did 2 interviews with WBLS with Paul Mooney and Ellen of that show at that point in 2005. Yeah.
That's cool.
But I had done 4,000 media interviews and mainstream. Yeah. We're talking about BET. They're hiding this. And we're talking about Essence, Vibe, Source, Rolling Stone. Yeah. The BBC London twice. Yeah. Wall Street Journal in 2009.
Yeah. And I saw like some internet trolls who we touched on internet trolls, but one of them, and there are black people, there are white people, there are all kind of races that are speaking about this, but they're not telling the truth. They're not telling the full truth or any of the truth, really.
Yes.
But it was actually a black person who wrote this blog, and he talked about how, if it's such a big thing, how come the big media is not taking on this story if it's the truth? And they have taken it on.
Yes.
When you take it off, then the new generation, they don't know what's going on. They haven't seen those magazines or those interviews. So it's up to us to continue to tell this story and get this out there, because a lot of people know about it, but they need to keep knowing about it and forever know about it. So,
well, they don't even seem like they know about the new magazines and NBC, ABC. Yeah. And ABC interviewed me twice and broke the story. ABC Disney was the one that actually broke the story. Yeah. October the 17th, 2003. And my story went viral.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, globally. Yeah. But yet, just like you said, they've hidden everything that's archived. Yeah. And all the newer people coming on think this just happened overnight. Exactly. That I'm some myth, that I'm some urban legend, that I didn't do it, and I'm just some internet sensational, whatever. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy to me because I've sent over magazines, newspapers, radio.
And they just ignore it. It's like their brain cannot register that.
The truth. Their brains can't register the truth.
Yes. Even if it adds up, it can multiply. Not even adding up. It's multiplying. And they still can't figure it out. So.
They are locked in the matrix. Yeah. That is what calling that you're locked in, that you're programmed, that you're in the matrix, that you have to take the red and the blue pill to come out of it. Yeah. When we were talking about the red and blue pill earlier, some people do not want to seek the truth. They don't want to give it to me. does it hurt them so badly that I accomplished something on a global level of truth and justice and that I have integrity? Because if I didn't have integrity, it would be all over the media in a negative aspect, not deceiving the public.
Yeah.
And you know what the greatest thing is? People don't even know that I've 3 court cases. Everyone is looking at the California 2003 where it was dismissed and sabotaged by lawyers that Warner Brothers and the defendants, these studios, sent.
Yeah.
You guys are looking at old news, and you know what? You seem like you're stuck in the Matrix.
Yeah, that's true.
I won September the 25th, 2014, in the Utah federal court. The copyrights, the movies, the 1 minute and 45 second of the protective expression of the author and creator.
Yeah.
All FBI's files, 96 pages. Anybody want it? I'll give it to you.
Yep.
How can you be naive? I sell Matrix and Terminator around the world. You think I can sell Apple? I'll get arrested.
Yep.
Do you think I can sell Gucci? I'll get arrested.
Exactly.
What about Nike? So what is wrong with these people?
Yeah, unless you change the name or some other stuff, but
they're buying the Matrix and Terminator from me.
Exactly. Yep.
They're buying it from me, and they're still hating.
Yep.
They'll even try to take it from me.
Yeah.
And because it's not unheard of that there are many movies that don't have the same name as the books.
Yep.
Because that's what Hollywood do. They don't want to use the title of the book.
Yep.
They'll call the movie something else.
Yeah.
But people will try to separate the book and the movies when they're one and the same.
Yeah.
It's just like your kid's name is Michael, but they think Michelle is somebody else when Michelle is the European name of Michael.
Yeah.
So if Michelle and Michael are not two separate people.
It's
the same person. And I try to tell people the Third Eye Matrix and Terminator book is the Matrix and Terminator. It's talking about the womb, the eye of God, in the end. Terminator's end time revelations.
Exactly.
They can't even see that it all adds up.
Yep.
They will say, well, Sophia's the author of the Third Eye book, but won't say I'm the author and creator of the movies, which are nothing but derivatives.
Yeah.
I explained to them, I go into the hospital, I'm the mother, and I have babies. I'm the source, so how are the babies separated from me?
Exactly.
You see what I'm talking about? When they come from me.
Yeah.
Literally. When they're one and the same.
Exactly.
But this is what they try to do to belittle me. Or they will call me a tagline, Sophia Stewart, the mother of the Matrix. Well, guess what, folks? I'm not in music. I'm not Jay-Z Jigga. I'm not Sean Combs Diddy, P. Diddy. I'm Sophia Stewart, author, creator, owner of the Matrix and Terminator movie franchises.
Yeah.
And you need to address me that way.
Yeah.
And they also try to belittle me and call me Miss Sophia, Miss Sophia. Well, guess what? I'm not Miss Sophia. I was married before. I'm not the color purple.
Yeah.
So my name is Sophia Stewart.
Yeah.
You know, because I think all this was created by the studios and the trolls on the internet to try to separate and confuse the people. You know, people mimic each other. Yeah. So everybody is mimicking each other and think they're saying something smart and something intelligent when they're really not.
Yeah. And a lot of them haven't done the actual research. So like I said earlier, so I'm going to take a quick break and then we will be right back with a lot more.